Well, hey everybody, it's that time of month again, and again, my plans have gotten changed. I had planned on doing a different type of health video for this month. Then I remembered next month is actually National Ride a Bike Month, or National Biking Month. And as you can see, I caved and decided to change my topic this month again, and we're going to talk about biking, the benefits of biking, and what you need to do. For those of you who don't know me, I am a big biking fanatic, and I have been for 20 plus years. Now, when I was a youth, a little boy, the first time I rode a bike was in Italy. That's where I learned how to ride a bike. While my father was stationed in Italy and we lived in Italy. So my whole family had bikes. My parents had bikes. My sister had a bike. I had a bike, and it was common for us to bike all over the base. And every now and then we go out in the countryside and bike. And yes, the dream of and mysticism of biking through the Italian countryside is real. I really cherish those childhood memories of biking through the Italian countryside, going from cobblestone roads out into the countryside with the poppy fields. Even with my brain injury, I can still remember all that like it was yesterday. But I think before my accident, the last time I rode a bike was probably my sophomore year of high school. And I remember I used to ride my bike to the high school and around the town I lived in and back home, a couple miles. But got older and stopped biking. It wasn't until I was in college and my roommate at the time got into mountain biking, and that's when I really got interested in biking again. That's when the mountain bike craze came up. And I didn't get a bike, I just went with him when he went biking a little bit. It was nice being outside. Then I had my accident. And after I had my accident and I got my settlement from the accident, one of the first things I wanted to do after I got a new car was to buy a new bike and get into biking. Now, at the time, I wanted to do it because it was basically the only physical activity I could do, exercise I could do, where I wasn't dragging my left leg and my left arm wasn't hanging down. So, but before I continue, I got to make an adjustment. I got to change this. Sometimes my monitor gets in the way of recording. But yeah, I started biking so I could use my right side of my body to compensate for the lack of feeling and movement on the left side of my body. If you know the mechanics of a bike, you use both legs, your left leg and your right leg to pedal. So I was actually using my right side to move my left side. So that's why I got back into biking. And for years, it was just a Martin thing. And then probably around 2005 is when all the therapists and the medical community started to realize that biking was actually good for the brain. So a lot of rehabilitation hospitals and a lot of brain injury programs started pushing getting brain injury survivors active on bikes because there was much more than just physical benefits. There was a lot of neurological benefits and a lot of social benefits of biking. What I'm going to try and do is put like a little infographic towards the end of this video so you can see some of the benefits of biking, both physical and neurological benefits of cycling. So with that said, biking is not just for kids. If you know anything about cycling over the last few years, it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Not just because of the mountain bike craze that came out of Colorado and Washington State, but also there's more of the European cycling, which is more of the road bikes. Now, that type of cycling, if you watch Tour de France, you know it's for like long distance biking. But to give you a little inside information about it, road bikes are extremely light. I mean, and expensive. I mean, that cyclists will pay tens of thousands of dollars to get a high-end carbon fiber bike that weighs maybe between 10 and 20 pounds. Now, my bike that I bike on, when we had it weighed the last time, it was right around 36 pounds. Now, you may not think that those extra 16 pounds are a lot, but when it comes to biking, because you gotta think, not only do I have that 36 pounds, I have my body weight and anything I may be carrying added to it. So right now, I think I'm right around 194 pounds. So you add that 36 too, so that's over 200 pounds that I have to move when I'm biking, whether I'm biking 40 miles, 14 miles, 20 miles. I'm moving, using my body to move 200 plus pounds. Now, most endurance cyclists, if you ever seen them, they're rail thin because they're trying to be as lean as possible. They don't want as much muscle mass, and they just want to be. They're basically skin and bones with a little toothpick arms and toothpick legs. So most cyclists weigh, I think, it's between 150 and 165 pounds. Then you add their 10-pound bikes to that, 10 20-pound bikes, they're still under 200 pounds. So do you see the difference between cycling and mountain biking? Now, the type of mountain biking I do because of my reflexes is what we call fat tire biking, which is using a mountain bike on road. So basically, I'm trying to do the same thing endurance cyclists are doing, but I'm doing with a mountain bike, and I'm a lot heavier. So the reason why I do that because it causes me to use more muscle and less momentum to bike. So what I'm doing is when I'm biking like that is I'm building up my legs muscles. I'm building up my abdominal muscles because believe it or not, you actually use your abs to balance the bike. And when you start climbing up an incline, you use your abs as you press down. Because when I'm what we calling biking grinding, I'm pulling on my handlebars at the same time I'm pressing down my legs to give myself more torque and leverage to grind up an incline. And while I'm doing that, my abdominal muscles will contract and flex. So that's how you're working your midsection and working your arms and your shoulders and your chest. I have gone biking and gotten home from biking, and my chest been sore from mountain biking on road because I've had to climb so many inclines and try to give myself more leverage and more torque to get up the incline. So if you don't know, biking is a full body workout. Legs, upper body with your arms, your chest, your shoulders, your abdominals. And of course you get the cardiovascular benefits of it, which is the main benefit a lot of people want to get. Which my goal when I bike is to get my heart rate at least to my max, just because I want to get my heart stronger, because that increases the blood flow to my brain, which again helps my brain recover from the brain injury. It also increases your metabolism because your heart's stronger, so you'll burn more calories, which I'm not trying to burn calories per se, but keep my heart strong and healthy. So there are lots of benefits to biking, and it's not just a sole athlete sport, meaning you don't have to do it by yourself. Now, I personally like biking by myself just because when I'm biking, I'm concentrating on moving my left side. I'm trying to soak up my environment. I'm trying to pay attention to my body, make sure my heart rate's not getting up too high. Make sure I'm not sweating too much, I'm not cramping. So most of my biking is done by myself. Every now and then I will ride with some friends, but I think the last time it's been over a year since I've ridden with other people. So I've run into a couple of friends out while I'm biking out in the country in the community I live in, and we might bike and talk a little bit, but for the most part, I'm by myself. Now, if you're with a family or you have children, it's a great activity to do together with your family. I don't know if you've seen them, but a lot of families have these little window decals on the back of their car with like dad on a bike, mom on a bike, and little kids on a bike, and then maybe a little stroller behind a bike with a dog in it. I mean, it's great. It's a great family activity, and all that costs you is the time and energy you put into going once you get the equipment. Which I'll go ahead and admit now, bikes nowadays can be pretty expensive, but you get what you pay for. You can go out and buy a cheap bike at Walmart and just ride around your neighborhood, and that's fine. But if you want something that you're gonna take out on a rough trail, you want something that's gonna be able to withstand the rocks, the falls, and the elements on the trail, you spend a little bit more money. Or if you want something that you can do a long 50, maybe 100-mile ride on, you definitely want to spend the money to get a lighter bike because you don't want to be tugging a 30 plus pound bike plus your weight around for 50 or 100 miles. It would be miserable. Which brings me to another reason why a lot of people enjoy biking now. And honestly, it's one of the reasons why I'm biking more this year than normal. Is cycling is one of those few cardiovascular exercises you can do that actually is good for your joints and your tendons. Whereas running, every time your foot hits the ground, even if you're walking, anytime you walk, every time your foot hits the ground, you put your weight on your feet, which is putting more pressure on your ankles, puts more pressure on your knees. Now, over the last year or two, I've developed some calcification in my Achilles tendon. So I've tried to cut back on my running some just so I can reduce the wear and tear on my Achilles tendon. So that's why I've been biking more this year. I still run it looks like if the weather changes for this weekend, I'll probably be running and I'll run inside just because the treadmill has a little bit of give and it's better on my heels. Now, if I try to run outside for a mile, it takes me a few days before I'm even able to walk because of the calcification of my heels. I've got so hardened and stiffened. But I can go in and run on a treadmill and the next day, I'm fine. Of course, I also have gel inserts in my shoes, but that's the running. And next month is bikers month. So if you haven't got a bike or gotten your bike out, get it out. And this is driving me crazy. My eyeglass, get my biking glasses on for this. But get your bike out, get you changed, lubed up, get the tire pressure and your tires right. Make sure your brakes are working, and I can't emphasize that enough. Always make sure your brakes are working good before you go on a bike ride, because you don't want to get out on the road and then go hit your brakes and your bike doesn't stop. And you really don't want to be squeaking, because if they're squeaking, that means you don't have as much stopping power also. So always remember, PM your bike before you go biking. But this is all I really wanted to jump on here and share with y'all this month. Hope you're not disappointed, but unless plans change again, I will have a video next month that I've been wanting to share with y'all probably since the end of last year. And I'll go ahead and give you a spoiler. It is another fitness / health video, more health and nutrition though. So hit the like button, leave a comment in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this. Share with me if you're out biking, if you want to get on a bike, if you have health concerns. Just leave all that in the comment box below. And until then, check out these facts about the benefits of biking for us on your body and your brain, and the infographic coming soon. Have a great one, y'all. Bye-bye.